Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. My name is Ron Tyler. We're coming to you from the Area Command 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody here to our show tonight. As we've been doing for quite some time, we're going to start off this show by a salute to the United States of America. We're going to hear from the hosts of the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. They're going to give us the Pledge of Allegiance, and the national anthem will be rendered by the Barbershop Quartet from the United States Army in 2015. Would everybody please rise?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it. America's finest right there.
America's finest, the United States Army Barbershop Quartet, coming to us from the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. Again, the Barbershop Quartet gave us the national anthem, and the Barbershop Quartet hosts gave us the Pledge of Allegiance, and we thank them for that. We really appreciate it. And God bless them and their families. God bless all of our military members, wherever they might be around this globe. God bless our allied military members as well, allies of the United States, wherever they might be. May you all be blessed. We want to thank you for your service, and may you all return home to your families after your tours of duty end. And thank you again for your service. We definitely appreciate it. God bless you all. Folks, again, we have a lot to talk about. I first want to give some thanks to some people that did us good in the mail yesterday. We went to the post office yesterday and we received a check from a really fine lady. And this check was a good-sized check, and we really appreciate it. This lady was here in North Carolina, just northeast of where I live right now. Want to thank her for that. Her name is Elizabeth from Reedsville, North Carolina. We appreciate that, Elizabeth. Thank you so much. I also want to thank our friends here in Morganton that attended our wedding on Sunday evening. Rick and his wife Harriet gave us a beautiful card and also gave us some support in it. And we really appreciate that, Rick and Harriet. God bless you for that. We appreciate that beautiful card. Also, another gift that we got in the mail yesterday from our good friends Phil and Jan. We got this beautiful book. It's a coffee table book called Letters to Trump. Letters to Trump. On the back of it is a letter that President Trump received before he was even president from Richard Nixon of the White House from 1970 to 1974. He wrote President Trump a letter. In that letter he said, "Dear Donald, I did not see the program, but Mrs. Nixon told me that you were great on the Phil Donahue show. As you can imagine, she is an expert on politics, and she predicts that whatever you decide to do to run for office, you will be a winner." That was from President Richard Nixon of the White House. This was about 1987, before he died. Former President Richard Nixon wrote President Trump a letter. All kinds of letters are in this book, and I really appreciate that. It's a coffee table book, and I will cherish it as long as I live. A beautiful book. Now, with that said, we're going to get down to some very serious times, some very serious words from this channel. Please, please pay attention to what we're saying. Okay? This is very, very, very important. Okay? I'm not mincing words here. I'm not mincing words at all. Hurricane Lydia. We talked about Hurricane Lydia this past week. And honestly, when it was out in the East Pacific, west of Mexico, I didn't think it was going to do anything. It was just kind of hanging out off the coast, and it was spinning out there as a tropical storm. All of a sudden it started moving north a little bit, and then it spun into Mexico. It hit Mexico Monday into Tuesday. I didn't expect it. I honestly did not expect it to do anything. But when it hit Mexico as a Category 4 hurricane. A Category 4 hurricane. Then it started weakening just as soon as it hit land. That's typically what hurricanes do. Hurricane Lydia made landfall along the Pacific coast of west central Mexico yesterday as a Category 4 hurricane before weakening. It threatened a stretch of the west central shoreline of Mexico all the way north to Puerto Vallarta, down into the Riviera of Mexico, like I had talked about before, Acapulco, Zihuatanejo, and Manzanillo. Popular resorts and tourist towns. Popular tourist destinations in the Mexican state of Jalisco. It arrived and came on the heels of Tropical Storm Max, which hit the southern Mexico coast on Monday. Max petered out. All it was a tropical depression with some rain and light winds. That's all Max was. And then it tapered off to nothing. The storm system was about 30 miles east of Puerto Vallarta at 10 p.m. Central Time on Monday night. Lydia was packing maximum sustained winds then of 105 miles per hour, classifying it as a Category 2 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson scale, which rates potential property damage from hurricanes. Jalisco and Nayarit states reported downed trees and power lines, as well as landslides over some highways in the region. Jalisco Governor Enrique Alvaro said there were no reports of injuries or deaths so far. Lydia had become more powerful over the course of the day before it hit land yesterday, growing in strength to Hurricane Category 4 at 9 a.m. Central Time, when it carried a maximum sustained winds at 9 a.m. yesterday of 100 miles per hour. 100 miles per hour. That is a very powerful storm. A very powerful storm. Now, I'm not the only one that didn't think that Lydia would not do anything. I've talked to several forecasters, some people from the Weather Service and also the Weather Channel. They did not believe Lydia was going to do anything, and then all of a sudden it started heading north very quickly, and then it headed east and slammed into the south central Mexican coast yesterday morning. 104 mile per hour winds. Huge. Huge. Lydia had become more powerful over the course of a day, growing in strength since 9 a.m. Central Time, when it carried maximum sustained winds of 100 miles per hour, and at the time was categorized as a Category 2 storm. A storm falls within a Category 2 when its maximum sustained winds are stronger than 96 miles per hour, but do not exceed 110. And it shifted to a Category 3 when wind speeds are between 111 and 129 miles per hour. Any hurricane classified as a Category 3 storm or above, the system ranks storms through Category 5, and that's considered a major hurricane. In its latest advisory, the Hurricane Center said that life-threatening winds and flooding rainfall continue to spread over west central Mexico. However, the Hurricane Center today added that it was rapidly weakening and was expected today as the hurricane moved inland as nothing more than a tropical depression. The hurricane was expected to bring as much as 12 inches of rain to parts of the Mexican states of Nayarit, Sinaloa, and coastal Jalisco, likely causing flash flooding and urban flooding, as well as possible mudslides in sections of the coast with higher terrain. Apart from that, the strong winds. Lydia can produce a lot of rain. Albert Martinez, who's a meteorologist at the Weather Channel in Spanish, told CBS News yesterday in an email, "This is a big amount of rain and can produce flash floods along the Sierra Madre with mudslides and higher terrains. It's important to note to avoid creeks and rivers because they can grow very rapidly." Martinez warned people to stay away from creeks and rivers in Mexico until at least the end of this week. Martinez also noted that Puerto Vallarta will experience heavy rain and flooding in addition to strong hurricane winds. Hurricane force winds extended up to 30 miles from the center of the storm, as I explained yesterday, and tropical storm force winds were extending up to 140 miles from Lydia. Martinez said a wide stretch of land between Nayarit and Colima, Mexico, will experience a lot of rain, floods, and strong winds. The Hurricane Center also said and warned that a dangerous hurricane storm surge. The storm surge, as we have explained before, is water that's driven by the heavy-duty hurricane force winds. Water is drawn off the ocean and drawn into the shallow areas of the coastal areas. These storm surges probably range here in Mexico up to 4 feet high. Up to 4 feet high. Coastal flooding near and to the south of where the center made landfall. And we need to also note that the surge will accompany large and dangerous waves near the coast. Life-threatening surf and rip currents linked to Lydia are also expected along the west coast of Mexico and Baja California peninsulas, all the way up to Cabo San Lucas. The Mexican government expanded its hurricane warning yesterday to include a wider section of the Pacific coast extending some 350 miles to Manzanillo in the state of Colima and El Rubito in Nayarit, which bookend the city of Puerto Vallarta. Tropical storm warnings were put in place for parts of Baja California Sur, including Punta San Telmo, extended south from Manzanillo to Punta San Telmo. By Tuesday night, last night, hurricane warning remained in effect for Manzanillo to San Blas and Nayarit, while a tropical storm warning remained in place for Punta San Telmo to Manzanillo. However, a hurricane warning for Los Islas, boy, I can't even pronounce these Mexican names, Las Islas Marias, an archipelago about 60 miles off of Nayarit and 200 miles southeast from the tip of Baja California. That has been canceled. The hurricane warning for that area has been canceled. As Lydia accelerated on its path toward landfall yesterday, the Hurricane Center anticipated that the storm would continue to strengthen because its development over the Pacific coincides with very warm sea surface temperatures in the area, as well as an upper level wind pattern that can play a role in the dynamics of a hurricane. Although parts of Lydia's landfall area are not densely populated, the hurricane's track raised concerns about Puerto Vallarta, a city known for its beaches that has gained international popularity as a hub for tourism and frequented spring break vacation spots for Americans. The United States State Department urged travelers to reconsider using Puerto Vallarta earlier this year, saying that violent crime and gang activity in Puerto Vallarta are common. Not long after, the Treasury Department of the United States announced sanctions against members or associates of the Jalisco drug cartel, who allegedly targeted elderly Americans and a timeshare fraud scheme that focused on Puerto Vallarta. That's what happened. Okay? So right now it's best to stay out of Puerto Vallarta because of the storm and stay away from the Mexican Riviera. It's not a good place right now. It probably won't be for many weeks to months to come. And this is only the winter season down there, and it's only going to get more choppy. The waves and water off of Puerto Vallarta, Manzanillo, Jalisco, over there in that area are going to be very dangerous. Okay, you're not going to want to go down in the water there. It might be warmer than upwards into the United States, but it's still not a safe area. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about Hurricane Lydia? I know we wanted to talk about it. I told you I was going to tell you what happened. This is it. Okay? Demon Cat says, just heavy rain forecast here for the next few days. Exactly. Demon Cat, thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. I want to acknowledge our wonderful mod squad here. We appreciate our mod squad. They're awesome. We really do. You guys are the best. Now, folks, we're going to be talking about some other things that have happened. Okay, yes, we're going to get to earthquakes before this broadcast is over. But, folks, we have a lot of things that are happening, and a lot of things that are not pleasant. I hesitated to talk about this only because I did not want to violate anybody's rules over themselves and what they see. But folks, quite honestly, we need to talk about this. These are some of the protesters, and I again told myself that I was not going to put any violence here on this channel. These are somewhat of the protesters in San Diego from Palestine and Israel. They got into it Sunday and again yesterday, and I don't think it's going to stop. And I have reason to say that, and I'll be getting into that in a minute. Elsewhere around Balboa Park, this is in Balboa Park, San Diego. Balboa Park is one of the most beautiful and expansive parks in all of California. It's a gorgeous place. It extends probably about a mile and a half in any direction. It's a huge grassy park with museums and other wonderful things to visit. But Sunday into yesterday it turned into violence. Okay? Palestinian protesters went to work on disrupting Israeli meetings that were peaceful. All the Israelis wanted to do is come together and pray, and the Palestinians tore into them. Now, San Diego police will deny it. Okay? San Diego police said there was no violence at all. There was. I saw it. Okay? That was there. Now, I want to show you some things. The reason I'm going to talk about this tonight is because there was a Hamas leader. There was a Hamas leader that came out today and ordered a Muslim jihad. Global Muslim jihad. Meaning war. Muslims attacking anybody and everybody. Now, the United States government has designated Hamas as a terrorist organization. Hamas is the Arabic acronym for Islamic Resistance Movement, a recognition of the group's roots and early ties to one of the Sunni Muslim world's most prominent groups. The Muslim Brotherhood was founded in Egypt in 1920. The group has vowed to annihilate Israel and has been responsible for many suicide bombings and other deadly attacks on civilians and Israeli soldiers. Hamas officials cited long simmering tensions, including a dispute over the sensitive Ali Aqsa Mosque, sacred to both Muslims and Jews. Competing claims over the site known to Jews as the Temple Mount. Those conflicts have spilled in bloody violence before, including a bloody 11-day war between Israel and Hamas in 2021. Nobody hardly heard about it because there were other pandemic things going on. Okay? Now, I want to give you a little lesson in history on what is going on. Okay? This is the Temple Mount. This is the Temple Mount over there in Jerusalem. I've fielded a lot of questions from a lot of people, including some of you. Is Solomon's Temple the Temple Mount? Last year we talked about Solomon's Temple extensively during our Sunday school classes. The exact location of the Temple of Solomon is unknown. It is believed to have been situated upon the hill that forms the site of the 1st century Second Temple and the present-day Temple Mount, where the Dome of the Rock is situated. Does the Temple Mount still exist? While the Second Temple may be long gone, razed by the Romans to punish the rebellious Jews, the outer walls surrounding the magnificent temple compound built by King Herod, 74 to 4 BCE, still exists. Most notably the Western Wall, which has become the holiest site in Judaism. The Temple Mount is a hill in the old city of Jerusalem that has been venerated as a holy site in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam for years, thousands of years. Today the Temple Mount is a walled compound within the old city of Jerusalem. It is the site of two magnificent structures, the Dome of the Rock to the north, and you can see it there, and off to the other side is the Aqsa Mosque to the south. In the southwest stands a western wall, a remnant of the Second Temple, and the holiest site in Judaism. Hamas, which has ruled the Gaza Strip since 2007, launched an attack inside Israel over the weekend, killing hundreds of people, taking others hostage. On Saturday, October 7th, Hamas and Hezbollah launched an unprecedented breach of the Israeli border and sent terrorists inside border communities and military installations. It shocked Israel. This incursion into Israel shocked the Israeli community and the government, and its allies as well. And it also raised questions about the group's capabilities and strategy. What does Hamas want? Hamas has always espoused violence as a means to liberate occupied Palestinian territories, and they have called for the annihilation of Israel. Hamas has carried out suicide bombings over the years. They fired tens of thousands of increasingly powerful rockets from Gaza into Israel. Now, I want to warn you, what I'm going to talk about right now is not pleasant. It's distasteful. Richard Smith in her chat says, if I had listened to my friend more carefully, if I could have stopped him from killing himself, I feel so bad for his mom to have found him hanging like that. I'm so sorry for the death of your friend, Richard. God bless you for that. God bless you, and God bless his family. Getting back to this, I want to warn the people right now. This is historical fact. It actually pays to know actual history. That's why I'm trying to give you an updated brief history on this area. You all may have Muslim neighbors. Perhaps you've known them for years, and you even consider them to be good friends. And in fact, they actually may be. But historically, Muslims consider themselves to be above all things, part of what they call the Ummah, U-M-A, a global brotherhood that comes before all and everyone else except Allah. Allah is the Muslim God. Allah is all in one on the Ummah, beware. Betrayal is part of that code. I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry. This is historical fact. It's taught in the Quran. When they are weak, they make deals, peace treaties with what they call the infidels, i.e. us, all of us historically, anyone who's not Muslim, knowing the entire time that as soon as they have the power, the strength, it is perfectly righteous to break that treaty or deal, as we infidels don't matter and Allah despises us. When we did it to the American Indians, Native Americans as well as the Christians were considered committing a very grave crime, a terrible sin against the Lord for which we must and should pay when Muslims do the same. That's perfectly righteous. They and their leftist buddies, who I will warn you are considered to be infidels, they will deny this to your face. I've already been told by some people yesterday that I am bigoted and I'm racist. But history proves me right. It is one of the most main parts of the reasons for the history of the Muslim nation, from Islam's beginnings. It has been one long story of bloody betrayal. So if you have Muslim neighbors who you consider friends, be very cautious. I'm not saying to think of them and disdain them. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying be cautious. Because the Muslim tenets tell them that they're better than all of us and that they should turn on us. I'm asking you to be very cautious. It does not hurt to be cautious, but misplaced trust can get you killed, and that in a very bloody, horrifying fashion. Good grief, people. Good grief. They honor their own. They take honor in killing their own daughters. The Muslims honor themselves and kill their own daughters. Talk about betrayal. You bring a child into this world. Then you turn around years later and kill them. How horrifying is that child seeing their parents kill their daughter? What the heck do you think they'll do to you? What the heck do you think those Muslims are going to do to you? NATO is in a panic. We've talked about what I'm going to say yesterday and Monday. NATO is in a panic. U.S. weapons have been tracked from Ukraine and showed up in Iran. President Biden sent our military equipment to Ukraine, as well as several $billions, and I'm saying hundreds of billions of dollars during the past 3.5 years. And now those same weapons, rockets and trucks, tanks and other weapons, have now shown up in Iran. And Iran has been buying them. Buying Ukraine weapons that their military is selling on the black market to enemies of the United States and NATO allies. Iran bought the weapons and gave them to Hamas and Hezbollah. It's a sad day, because now we have United States troops on destroyers, troop carriers, aircraft carriers down in the Mediterranean. And those weapons are going to be used against Israel and against the United States. Now, the man that I showed you a few minutes ago, the Hamas leader, this is not pleasant for me to talk about. He has declared a jihad, a worldwide jihad, starting Friday the 13th, this coming Friday. A global jihad. What is going to happen to us? What is going to happen to us? Because of Joseph Biden letting anybody through our border, all of a sudden we have Palestinian terrorists showing up in New York, San Diego, Boston, Atlanta, and other major cities around the globe, and the United States, showing protest, and in some cases violent protest. We don't know half of what we have here in the United States, because all of them dropped their identification cards at the U.S. border before they crossed. So we have no way of tracking them. Most of the men that came across are military age, aged 18 to 40. And now we're seeing those same people that have crossed into the United States protesting the United States involvement with Israel and anything else that they want to protest. These Muslim people are here to do harm to all of us. Beth Wolf says God allows self-defense, and most of the laws here in the United States do allow for self-defense. I want to talk to you now about how you can help yourself. I don't trust that Hezbollah and these other terrorists will start only on Friday. Today is Wednesday. We've already seen violent protests around our country and around our world. England has also seen the same thing happen. Germany and Austria and Belgium and Switzerland have all seen it happen. France has seen it happen. We don't know what weapons that they smuggled into these other countries either. We don't know. Ukraine sold the weapons to Iran, and Iran has given them to Hamas and Hezbollah. We have no clue where else that these weapons have gone. Now, this Muslim leader from Hamas has declared a worldwide jihad starting Friday. I have been talking to you, all of you, about being prepared. I've talked to everyone about being prepared. Now is not the time to ignore me and to ignore the things that I've said. Now is the time to protect yourselves. Now is the time to protect yourselves. I've talked before about writing an emergency plan. The emergency plan is not just for earthquakes. It's not just for tornadoes or hurricanes. It's not just for heavy-duty snowstorms and blizzards. The emergency plan that you should be writing, or you should have it already written, should also include crimes of violence. How you're going to handle anyone that threatens you or commits crimes of violence against you and your family. If you have not already written that plan, do it now. Don't wait for tomorrow. Do it tonight. Write a plan on how you're going to defend yourselves. Do it now. Do it now. Write a plan. This man pictured here has offered us violence starting Friday, October 13th. It could start tonight or tomorrow. We've had violent protests all over our world the past few days. I believe it's going to get worse. I'm going to offer you some ideas that you need to put into your plans, that you need to really self-consider. If you live in or near a major or large city or town, become very alert to everyone and anything going on around you. We talked about the phrase, keeping your head on a swivel. I'm telling you folks, that's exactly what you need to be doing. Keeping your head on a swivel. During the next few days, even through the entire weekend. I would not go to where large groups of people would go. I would not go near any mall. I would not go near any major sporting event. Because those kinds of places are frequented by mobs that don't like us. And I'm talking about Hamas and Hezbollah, violent Palestinian people. Stay away from those things. Stay away from large groups and crowds. I would not go to a soccer event. I would not go to a baseball game. I would not go to a football game. I would not go to a basketball game. Sorry, not going to happen. Stay away from large crowds. Keep your head on a swivel. If you go anywhere, know the areas that you're going to be in. Become very much aware of everything and anything going on around you. Know the areas that you're going to be in, that you're going to go into. Know where you are going to go. Know where you're going to park your car. Know where the entrances and exits to the property are. Both car entrances and exits, but also anywhere that might be you could enter or exit on your feet. Know where you can drive your car through and leave or enter the property. Know how to get in and out of the property yourselves or any buildings. If you go into buildings, look for exits. Look for nearby exits. Do not turn your back on anyone. Don't turn your back on anyone. And some people may say, I've gone beyond real. No, I don't think so. Okay? I don't think I'm going beyond anything. I am just being real here. Already I'm seeing you guys in the chat saying it was all planned, staying home. I don't go too much anyway. Yes, Stuco Vloskov says it was all planned. It's been in the planning for a long time. But don't put your lives on the line. Make sure your emergency plan is up to date. Sit down with your spouse and children and be honest with them and explain to them what is happening. Rob52 says today in Dearborn, Michigan, there was a pro-Palestinian rally. Of course. Does anybody have any idea where Dearborn, Michigan is? And who is taking control of Dearborn, Michigan as of about 8 or 10 years ago? The Muslim community has taken over Dearborn, Michigan. They've taken down signs that were in English. And they've already put up signs that are in the Muslim language. Dearborn, Michigan has become a Muslim community, regardless of what the Americans there want. I would be very careful in Dearborn, Michigan, or anywhere near there. Where you know there's a large Muslim population, stay away from it. Stay out of that area. Mel Bahanska says, we have one here in Houston too. Makes me sick. Not that long ago, there was a man running for mayor who was Muslim. He wanted to turn the city of Houston into a Muslim community, and he was outright saying that. Needless to say, he did not win, but that doesn't mean he's going to stop. People like him are all over the country and all over the world. I'm just putting the word out for all of you. Keep an eye on everyone and everything around you. Know your safe areas. Have an escape plan wherever you might go. Before you leave to go anywhere, have an escape plan. Put it on a map. I've already had several of you say that you're not going anywhere and you already have an escape plan if you have to leave your home or wherever you're going to be. Put it on a map, a paper map. Print out that map or put it on a regular paper map that you can buy at the stores. Put it on the map, and I'm talking about taking a magic marker that's a light colored magic marker. Put those escape routes on the map and keep those maps in your car, at least for now. You may need them. Don't put yourselves in harm's way. Know your safe areas. Have an escape plan. If you're together with your family or your spouse, do not become separated in a store. Stay together. Plan where you're going to go, when you will go and who you will be with, and what you're going to be doing. If there's a problem once you get there, get out. If there's a problem when you get there, leave. Don't stay. You will only be adding to the problem if you stay. Richard Smith says live town street cams are useful if they have internet connections. You're right. But what I know about these street cams, many of the times they're even shut off. Many times they're shut off. They're not even connected to the internet, so you're not going to see current activity. How do I know? Because I have been there. I've looked at those street cams. I'm just trying to give you a heads up. And I don't think I'm wrong in doing so. Some people might say I'm racist. Some people might say that I'm over-exaggerating the situation. Not when this gentleman here, not when this gentleman right here has said that he's calling for a worldwide jihad. And he's a former leader of Hamas. I'm not exaggerating. Nathan Hester says, I ain't running. I will defend my family and property to the fullest. I agree. Space Force Al is in the chat. It is unbelievable how some radical Muslim can go off on you. And if you say the wrong thing, you will not live to regret it. Folks, don't put yourself in a situation you can't get out of. Melba's saying that that man is no gentleman. I agree. He is not a gentleman. I'm not exaggerating. This is a very serious situation. Heather's in the chat and says, everyone needs to listen. That's why I'm talking about it. Everybody here needs to listen, and everyone here needs to share this program. You need to share it with all your friends and neighbors and loved ones. I'm not telling anything here or saying anything here or showing anything here that isn't valuable to everybody that you know. I'm dead serious here. Be very careful where you go this weekend. Plan where you're going to go. Plan it on paper. An escape route, and I would say 3 different escape routes. Give yourself a chance. Plan 3 separate escape routes out of the area you're going to be in. If you're at your home, you're going to want to plan 3 escape routes just in case your home comes under attack. I don't trust these people, not any further than I could throw them. And I'm heavily armed where I'm at. I will protect my family, and I will protect those around me. Yes, I live in a small town. But if anything was going to happen, you can damn well better believe that I will be in the thick of it to protect people that I care about. That's a fact. That is a fact. I am very serious about everything I've talked about. And you should be very serious as well in protecting yourselves. About every 7 years, Hamas and Hezbollah have launched attacks against Israel. The last attack before this was in 2021. So they're early. Hamas was formed in 1987 by Sheikh Ahmad Yassin, a Palestinian refugee living in Gaza during the first Intifada, which is an uprising, which was marked by widespread protests against Israel's occupation of 3 territories that Palestinians wanted to form their future state: Gaza, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem. But again, the United States has designated Hamas as a terrorist organization. And all of you need to know that. Kimberly Hopkins says, I have 3 routes marked already on my map, highlighted in yellow. And that's exactly what I want all of you to do. Highlight those routes in yellow. Make sure that you can do what you can do and give yourself an out. Have an escape route planned. Everything that you do, at least through this weekend, you should have a plan. Everything. Everything. Someone asked, and I don't know the answer to this, how many hours are they in the Middle East ahead of us? I would say they're probably 8 hours ahead of us. I don't know for sure. I used to live in Europe, in Sweden. We were 8 hours ahead of my parents in California. I am telling you guys, and I would not say this if I didn't think it wasn't true. I am just asking all of you to make sure you have what is necessary for you and your family before this weekend. Little B says, I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. Praying for Lord Jesus will take care of us. And that's all good. Prayers are good. The Lord does hear and answer prayers. But the problem is this. If you don't do what you can do for yourself, the Lord is not going to do for you. If you sit back and think that whatever you do, the Lord's going to bless you, He might. But the Lord also expects us to do everything in our power to help protect ourselves. And then He will also help you. That's scriptural. That is scriptural. I am just saying what I've seen, and I believe it to be true. Even members of Congress are concerned about what is going on. I spoke to two of them today. One of my friends, who's a congressman from Utah, a senator I should say from Utah, and a congressman from here in North Carolina. They are also concerned. They are also taking care to make sure they have plans as well, to make sure they're going to be taken care of. Everybody needs a plan. I am scared for all of you because I know exactly what people think. I wasn't born yesterday, it was the day before that. It was the day before yesterday I was born. I've been around the block a while. I know when I ask somebody to do something that they probably won't do anything about it. It's a fact. Oh, it's not going to happen to me. I've heard it before. Oh, it's not going to happen to me. I don't necessarily have to do it today. It can be tomorrow. It can be next week. And then you put it off, put it off, put it off. And when you have an emergency, you're not ready. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it too much. I've seen it too much. Our friend Scooter Pie says the Middle East is 9 to 10 hours ahead of us, which is probably close to being true. And knowing Scooter Pie, she's already probably researched it. But what I'm trying to give you is information to protect you and your families. I came on YouTube 4.5 years ago to give all of us emergency preparedness information and to talk about earthquakes. And I've done that. I've done that. I've done my job. But my job doesn't even end even though I've told you what happened. My job is continuing to make sure we're all protected, that we're doing whatever we have to do to protect ourselves and our families. Okay, Heather's asking about the scripture that says that God helps those who help themselves. It's Colossians chapter 3, verse 23. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for man. Colossians chapter 3, verse 23. Philippians 2, 12 and 13. Let's look at that. Philippians 2:12 through 13 reads, "Therefore, my dear friends, as you have always obeyed, not only in my presence but now much more in my absence, continue to work out your salvation with fear and trembling." Verse 13, "For it is as God who works in you who to will and to act in order to fulfill his good promise, his good purpose." Okay? There's another good scripture that I love to read. Okay? It's found in the book of James, chapter 2. And it goes through from verse 14 through 26. What does it mean that faith without works is dead? The same statement, faith without works is dead, means that true faith in Christ always produces good works. In James chapter 2 verse 26 we read, "For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also." Okay? We have to work out our own salvation. Just because we know that God will protect us, we also have to go out of our way to help protect ourselves. Okay? We have to go out of our way to protect ourselves as well. We just can't think that, oh, I can just sit here and do nothing, and the Lord's going to protect me. The Lord's going to bless me. It does not work that way. I'm sorry. It does not work that way. I wish it did. Brothers and sisters, I've been doing this a very long time. A long, long time. I've been a missionary since I was like 19 years old, even before that. I've been preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ for a very long time. That's why I was asked 4.5 years ago to be a gospel doctor and instructor. I've been around the road many times. I know the scriptures almost like the back of my hand. I just put a scripture up here, James 2, verse 26. "For just as the body without the spirit is dead, so also is faith without works is dead." Menacing Muskrat is here in the chat saying, "Remember the parable of the talents?" Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've been there. I've been there. In the book of Matthew, chapter 25, verses 14 through 30, for those of you that want to follow along, it reads, "For it is as if a man going on a journey summoned his slaves and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. The one who had received 5 talents went off at once and traded with them, and made 5 more talents. In the same way, the one that had 2 talents made 2 more talents. But the one who received the 1 talent went off and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those slaves came and settled accounts with them. Then the one who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 more talents, saying, Master, you handed over to me 5 talents. See, I made 5 more talents. Saying, Master, you handed me over 5 talents, I made 5 more. His master said to him, Well done, good and trustworthy slave. You've been trustworthy in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. And the one with the 2 talents came forward, saying, Master, you handed me over 2 talents. See, I've made 2 more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You've been trustworthy in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. Then the one who received the 1 talent also came forward, saying, Master, I knew that you were a harsh man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering which you did not scatter seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours. But his master replied, You wicked and lazy servant. You knew, did you, that I reap where I did not sow, and gather where I did not scatter? Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and on my return I would have received what was my own with interest. So he took the talent from him and gave it to the one with 10 talents. For to all those who have more will be given, and they will have an abundance. For to all those who have more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away. As for this slothful servant, throw him into outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. That's what it is. Matthew here denotes the delay of the parousia, the expected return of the Lord. In the Greek, the master, Kyrios, Kyrios, is also the Lord. And he returned and held a reckoning. Little B just gave us a $10 super chat. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that greatly. That makes me happy. I appreciate your support and helping make sure this channel grows and stays on the air. God bless you for that. Little B, you're awesome. Now, the first 2 servants here in the parable of the talents, they were congratulated and rewarded for their enterprise and their fidelity to the Master, the Lord. The reward of faithful and profitable service is given greater responsibility and the acceptance into a more intimate relationship with the Lord. Though their responsibility had been unequal, 5 talents and 2 talents, the reward was the same. What matters is their wholehearted commitment, not necessarily their accomplishment, but their wholehearted commitment to the Lord. That's what happens. That's what happens. So we have to do all we can to help ourselves. Then we will be blessed. Okay? Cassandra Goss says, Revelation 16:15. Behold, I come like a thief. Blessed is he who stays awake and keeps his clothes with him, so that he may not go naked and be shamefully exposed. That's it. That's it. Brothers and sisters, I know what we're reading, what we've been taught is true. I know it's true. I have a testimony of that. I have a testimony of it. I've been living proof of this parable in my own life. I'm living proof of it. When the Lord has given me blessings and has helped me, I've gone out of my way to make sure that someone else's life has been blessed. That's what each of us need to be doing. Each of us. The parable of the talents is a very simple story that our Lord tells here. A man who is preparing to leave on a journey entrusts his possessions to his servants. He distributes his wealth among 3 servants, a portion of them on the basis of their abilities. The one, he entrusted 5 talents. The second one, 2 talents. The third one, 1 talent. The first 2 servants go away quickly to set their work with the master's money. The third didn't invest it at all. He buried it. He dug a hole in the ground and buried his master's money. When the Lord returned, the first 2 eagerly met their master, apparently delighted in the opportunity to multiply the Lord's money. Both were commended as good and faithful servants. Both were rewarded with increased responsibility in the Lord's service. They were both invited to share in their master's joy. The Lord's dealings with the third servant is a very different matter. The servant came to his master with only the 1 talent that had been entrusted to him. He did not do anything to increase his master's money at all. Heather's here in the chat says, I have a happy servant heart. Heather, that's beautiful. What you just said was beautiful. You have a happy servant heart. That's what each of us must have. A happy servant heart. In the parable, the servant had offered a feeble excuse for his conduct. He told his master he was a harsh and cruel man, a man who was demanding, who expected gain or he had not labored. He contended that this is why he was afraid to take the risk with any kind of investment. And so he simply hid the money. And now he returned it without any gain. The Lord rebuked that servant for being evil and lazy. He took his talent from him and gave it to the one who had earned 10, and cast this servant into outer darkness, where there was weeping and gnashing of teeth. We should carefully note that the outcome of faithful service and unfaithful service in this parable. Faithful service led to increased responsibilities in the kingdom of heaven and eternal joy in the presence of the Master, even Jesus Christ. Unfaithful service led to condemnation and the removal of one's stewardship and an eternity of weeping and gnashing of teeth in outer darkness, away from the presence of the Lord. I don't think I'm far from concluding, I don't think I'm the only one, that this parable is not just an interesting story, but a message of eternal significance. If we listen carefully to that parable, looking to the Lord's Spirit to enlighten our hearts and minds, and to empower our own service to the glory of God for all eternity. That's what this parable was all about. That is what this parable was all about. We need to listen to what the Lord has for us. Truly listen. I've read the scriptures over and over and over throughout the years. I could probably quote 4, 5, 6 different parables. But when someone asked about the parable of the talents, I wanted to go through it so everybody would be able to understand it. Our lives are parallel to that parable. Each of our lives is being blessed for that which we have done. We were promised before we even came here. We told the Lord that we would be faithful and honor Him and do whatever it took to be able to learn more about the Savior and return to our Father in heaven. The Lord gave us goodly parents. So we were born into this world through goodly parents. We've been given the opportunity to improve our lives. Our parents raised us, helped us understand what money was about, helped us understand about human nature, helped us understand how we could help the other people, thus doing what the Lord wants us to do. When we're in the service of our fellow man, we're only in the service of our God. That's what the Scripture teaches us. That's what we've done here. That's what we've done here. What we're talking about tonight is very real, very real. My buddy Don Patoka, who's one of my dear friends and a mod on this channel, put here in the chat, for those of you that are not watching it. Today, two mighty forces are battling for supremacy of the world. The destiny of mankind is in the balance. It is a question of God and liberty, or atheism or slavery. It's true. It's a question of believing in God and doing the Lord's bidding, or atheism and being a slave and being cast out. That's it. Beth Wolf says it's either God or Satan. Pretty much. Pretty much. Brothers and sisters, I wasn't even going to go this route. But I think it was high time we did. I haven't taught a lesson of the gospel on our weekday programs. I've given you guys devotionals, short spin-offs of things that I believe, that I might give you something to chew on, something that you can help yourself with, to help each of us. Now I've gone to a full-blown gospel lesson. I know that the Lord lives. He hears and answers prayers. Brothers and sisters, I need you to prepare for what may happen this weekend. I'm hoping that that Hamas leader is out of his mind. I hope that that man is out of his mind. I think he is. But on the same token, we can't trust him. We can't trust him. We have to do what we have to do to protect ourselves. We must be ready. We must be ready. We just got through with the Emergency Preparedness Month in the month of September. We're into October, which is Fire Prevention Month. So you might say that we're here to talk about fire protection, keeping us out of harm's way. Yes, we're doing that. But brothers and sisters, it has a deeper meaning for all of us. What are we here for? And why are we here? What are we willing to do for ourselves? I've seen it. Throughout the years, I've seen it. And unfortunately, some people just don't want to listen. To their own detriment, they don't want to listen, and as a result, they're not going to be blessed as they could be. Let's talk about some earthquakes really quick, and we'll go back to this lesson we came up here with. Let's show you some earthquakes. Okay? I'm going down here to the South Pacific. Okay? This earthquake right here, early this morning, 37 minutes after midnight. This is a large 5.1 earthquake, 55 miles south-southeast of Pangai, Tonga. Pangai, Tonga. A large 5.1 earthquake. For the most part, nobody on any of the islands felt this because the ocean waters absorbed the earthquake power here. The ocean waters absorbed the earthquake power there. Just south of there, south of the Fiji Islands, this is a 4.3 earthquake. This is 318 miles deep. This is a very deep earthquake. And the result of the propagation of this earthquake, remember what we talked about? Deep earthquakes propagate larger, shallower quakes. This is a 4.3. This is going to propagate a 5.4 magnitude earthquake. This earthquake could go north. It could go south into the islands in New Zealand, or it goes further south from there. We're going to talk about these two earthquakes on the Antarctic Ridge here in just a minute. It could go down there. It could go over here into Vanuatu, the Solomon Islands, the Loyalty Islands. It could go over here into Papua New Guinea, that's seen a lot of large earthquakes this week already. It could go over here to Australia, where we showed you two earthquakes over on the western side of Australia yesterday. Again, USGS could care less. They didn't even show those earthquakes. Son of a gun. Or that 5.3 earthquake could go over here to South America, to Chile or Argentina. It could, and it may. We've seen earthquakes here in South America, large, very strong 6.1 earthquakes in northern Chile and Argentina yesterday, in the Andes Mountains of Argentina and Chile. Okay? Down here in the South Pacific, this is over on the Antarctic Ridge. Okay? This is near the Belleny Islands, Belleny Islands, the Belleny Islands. This is a 5.5 shallow earthquake, 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep, a 5.5 earthquake here. There's nobody even around here to felt that quake. Further west, on the Antarctic Ridge. This is west of Macquarie Island where people live. Yes, Macquarie Island has residents down here. This is another very strong 6.3 earthquake. 6.3 earthquake. This is 9 miles deep. Okay? USGS is not showing any earthquakes at all in Indonesia. What a lie of omission that is. There's about 20 earthquakes here in Indonesia, and even more up into the Philippines. A total of about 30 earthquakes between the Philippines and Indonesia today. USGS doesn't even show it. What a bunch of crap that is. Further north, in the Mariana Island region, this is a 5.0 earthquake here. Further north, all of last week and the week before and the week before that, we saw moderate and large earthquakes here in the Izu Island region here of the Mariana Trench. We've seen 6.5, 6.9 magnitude earthquakes here. Today, this is a 4.1 here in the Izu Islands just west of the Mariana Ridge. This is 281 miles deep. This 5.1 could propagate a 4.9 magnitude earthquake. 4.9 magnitude earthquake. I don't think it would be any harm, but it could be. That 4.9, 5.0 earthquake could end up being in Guam. I'm not sure exactly where Guam is here on this Mariana map. No, I don't see it here. But it could go over to Guam. We've seen that happen before as well. And this earthquake down here, this 5.0, it could also go north, and it will. It could hit Guam. This is not a propagation, but the seismic energy moves. And it moves along the earthquake superhighways here, these earthquake faults. So we know it will go north. It can go north into Guam, it can go further north into Mariana Islands here, the Izu Islands, and it could go over here into Japan. Japan. South of Japan. This is the Ryukyu Islands of Japan. This is a 4.6 earthquake here. This is 66 miles deep, down in the asthenosphere, where the plastic magma is. Okay? That's here. This other earthquake here is over at Taiwan. South central Taiwan. This is a 5.2 large earthquake. 5.2 large earthquakes can cause devastating circumstances. It can cause loss of life, and it can cause property damage. Okay? This is 48 miles south of Lugu, Taiwan. However, let's zoom in here. Okay? USGS might have it seem like this was out in the mountains of Taiwan, or someplace where probably nobody felt it. Folks, this is in a community. It appears to be a farming community. A 5.2 large dangerous earthquake here. This is 11 miles deep. This is a fairly shallow earthquake. Shallow earthquakes cause damage. I have not researched this much at all because this happened at 6:36 this morning. I will try to find out more information about this within the next 24 hours. But this, folks, people felt. And I know for a fact it has done damage, knowing from my experience on following these earthquakes. Okay? But again, USGS could care less. They don't really give a dang. They don't care. Also, look at this. This is Laos, Cambodia. Okay? This is a 4.4 shallow earthquake here in Cambodia. Okay? This is also along the fault edge. Look at that fault there. Look at that fault running here. That's why this earthquake happened. A moderate earthquake here in Laos, Cambodia. Okay? Or near Laos, Cambodia, I should say. Over here in Nepal. This is a 4.8 earthquake. This happened just after 2:30 this afternoon. It's a 4.8, very shallow quake, 10 kilometers deep. Or, it's in the Himalayan mountains here. This could be a shallow or a deep earthquake, but USGS is too dadgum lazy to say how deep it was. Or maybe they don't want us to know. There's that issue as well. Okay? Then we go north and west. This is Tajikistan. This is a 4.2 earthquake, also 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. Okay? Then we go south and west. Okay? What is here? What is here, guys? This is Afghanistan. Late last night we had another 6.3 earthquake. Another 6.3 earthquake. The earthquake I have highlighted here is a 4.5 shallow quake, 6.2 miles deep. This earthquake is a 5.0, also 6.2 miles deep. This is a 4.1, also here in Afghanistan, also 6.2 miles deep. They took down the 6.3 that caused this. They took down the very strong 6.3 earthquake that caused this last night. And it's not even 24 hours old yet. They took it down. Afghanistan is going to continue to shake. Last weekend we had a 6.9 earthquake here. A 6.9 earthquake. It was actually a 7.5. I believe it was a 7.5 from all the data that I have found out. So this was a very major earthquake. Major earthquakes cause extensive damage. Over 2,000 people have been killed here in Afghanistan as a result of that earthquake, and extensive property damage as well. That's happened. Okay? Over here in Turkey, earthquakes are still hitting this Turkey and Syria border area because of a major earthquake that happened here earlier this past year. USGS doesn't care. They're not saying anything, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Over here in Israel. Over here in Israel. You know what's happening here. Rockets and bombs are going off all over this place. The Gaza Strip is probably going to be annihilated probably within the next 72 hours. They've shut off all power, all electricity, and all water, and all food. Planes from Israel are all over this place, destroying it. Rockets are coming out of Turkey and Lebanon, still raining down in Israel. The United States has sent supplies to Israel to help out. Military and humanitarian supplies. We'll see what happens there. Beth Wolf says Israel is an important trade route. You're right. Heather says, talks about the art of war. If you have not already read that book, I would highly recommend that you do, because I know you would learn a lot of stuff from reading that book called The Art of War. You'd find out a lot about what is actually going on here. We have ships here. We have the USS Gerald Ford, the largest aircraft carrier presently operating. We have 2 other aircraft carrier task force groups as well. They're on scene and they're shipping supplies into Israel. And if Lebanon and Syria and Turkey continue to send supplies to the Gaza Strip, they probably will also be destroyed, as well as Iran. Okay? Richard Smith says seismicity increased around Israel and Gaza. Oh, you better believe it. With those heavy-duty bunker busters that are being dropped to seal those tunnels that have been dug by Hamas and Hezbollah, tunnels that went into Israel, offering them easy access into Israel to do the job of killing and slaughtering people. 42 babies were beheaded. 280 people, mostly teenagers and young men and women, were at a music festival there in the southern part of Israel. Slaughtered, all of them, except 2 people that escaped. Yeah. A woman that was pregnant. They shot the baby. The woman survived. What kind of people do this? Shoot and kill innocent children. Stab young women. Killing them, kidnapping them. What kind of people do that? What kind of people do that? It's insane. It's insane. The USGS has no better ideas than not provide any documentation of earthquakes here in Europe. There are earthquakes here. There are earthquakes here. They just desire not to talk about it. Another earthquake here north of Iceland that you should know about. This is up near Svalbard. Up near the island of Svalbard. This is a 4.4 in the Greenland Sea. This also is 6.2 miles deep. I call that bullcrap. Not all of these earthquakes are 6.2 miles deep. USGS, get your heads out of your butts. Yeah, I'm irritated. Because the preeminent earthquake agency in the world is lying to the world. Lying to the world. What kind of crap? Down here in the Atlantic Ocean here, east of the South Sandwich Islands, this is a 5.0 magnitude earthquake, east of the South Sandwich Islands. This earthquake is going to creep up the mid-Atlantic fault here. We're going to see this 5.0 earthquake creep up the mid-Atlantic fault. We'll see where it goes. Okay? USGS is saying we have 2 earthquakes here in northern Chile. There are about 18 earthquakes here in Chile today. This one here is in Camina, Chile. This is a 5.0 large earthquake. A 5.0 large earthquake. People live in this area. People live in this area, ladies and gentlemen. There's a 5.0 earthquake. There are a bunch of other earthquakes here as well. And probably aftershocks from this earthquake. Going north. One other earthquake here. This is in southern Peru. Tequila, Peru. Right here at this lake here. This is a 4.8 moderate earthquake. A 4.8 moderate earthquake, 142 miles deep. Down in the asthenosphere. This, folks, also is in the Andes Mountains here. This is in the foothills of the Andes Mountains here in Peru. Okay? And there's other earthquakes here as well. But our agency, run by our government, is lying about what is not going on here. This is another earthquake off the coast of Nicaragua. A 4.2 moderate earthquake. On the Cocos Plate here. On the Cocos Plate. The Cocos Plate is moving. We're not seeing any of the earthquakes also here in southern Mexico. They're denying our ability to see these earthquakes. This earthquake further off into the Pacific Ocean, west of the Mexican Riviera here, is a 4.2 moderate earthquake. Right next to the San Andreas Fault here. A 4.2 magnitude earthquake next to the San Andreas Fault that they have determined is a 6.2 mile deep quake. I call crap on that. Falls City, Texas. We have more earthquakes here. This is a 2.2. This is also a 2.1. Over here into the New Madrid Fault area, we're going to talk about this tomorrow. This is a 2.9, 3.0, Garland, Tennessee. Garland, Tennessee, right along the east side of the New Madrid Fault. A 3.0 earthquake. A 3.0 earthquake. seismicity is growing along the New Madrid Fault. We'll talk more about that tomorrow night. Here, Oklahoma, Velma, Oklahoma again, a 1.7 tremor caused by fracking. This is near Lucian, Oklahoma, also a 1.7 tremor caused by fracking operations. Southwestern Texas. Look at this, guys. This is also in oil and gas areas. Okay? I'm zooming in here. You can see the oil and gas pads here. This is a 2.0 earthquake caused by fracking operations. Fracking operations. Look at this one. Here's an oil and gas pumping operation here, and you can see the treated sewage water that they're going to put down into the hole to extract oil and gas from here. This earthquake is not very far from there. It's also not very far from other oil and gas operations here. Right in the middle of a pumping operation, you can see it here. The same thing holds true with this earthquake here. This is a 2.5. This is a 2.1. Okay? This one is 3.8 miles deep. This one here is also 3.8 miles deep. A fracking earthquake. Okay? All over this area. Literally all over. Okay? We go down here into northern Mexico here. Delta, BC. Baja California. Where is this at? This is just southeast of Cerro Prado volcano. Southeast of Cerro Prado volcano. Right in the middle of the town here. Right here. Right in the middle of town. A 1.8 tremor here. A 1.8 tremor. We go into Southern California. What else do you think you'd see here? Okay? This, folks, is another earthquake here. El Centro, 12 miles west-southwest of El Centro, California. This is a 1.4 tremor. However, if I show you another seismograph from here, you'd see larger earthquakes here as well. Again, they're hiding information here. This one, earthquake here in the Imperial Valley. This is a 1.5 tremor also in Westmoreland, California. Again, you'd see tremors and also earthquakes here in Westmoreland. We know that's happening. We know for a fact. This earthquake here, Julian, California. Yes, this is a tremor, a 1.2 tremor in Julian. If you're here in Southern California, drive down here to Julian this weekend. You can even spend a weekend here. They have bed and breakfast in Julian. They have restaurants where you can eat. And you can have hot apple pie or hot apple cider here in Julian, California. This is the apple capital of San Diego. The apple capital of San Diego. Julian, California. They ought to pay me for the ads, the free commercials I'm giving them. I've given it many times. Okay? Look at this. There's even a small cache of quakes here. Look at that. Wow. This is a 1.0. This is a 1.0. This is a 1.4. Julian, California, guys. Julian, California. 4 earthquakes here. Yes, I like Julian. I've been there many times. Okay? I do. I like it. Borrego Springs here. a 1.2. Borrego Springs, why? Because a lot of earthquakes happen here. Why do they happen? This is along another earthquake fault. The San Jacinto Fault here. This is a brand new earthquake, a 1.3 here on the San Jacinto Fault. It's in East San Diego County here, the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. Okay, that's why these earthquakes happen here. Right here as well. Also part of the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. This earthquake here. Guess what, guys? This is a different fault. This earthquake here and the one in Julian, part of the Elsinore Fault. This is just barely, they say 2 miles, they say it's 2 miles north-northwest. No, it's not north-northwest. It's 2 miles northeast of Palomar Observatory, where the crazy, wonderful observatories here. A 0.6 tremor here at Palomar Observatory today. Okay? 7 miles high Palomar Observatory is. Palomar Mountain is 7,100 and something feet above sea level there at the observatory. Look at this, guys. I want to show you this. This earthquake is on the San Andreas Fault, just east of Monterey Bay. Guess what? USGS is saying this is 1 mile northeast of Monterey Park, California. Really? Really? Look at this. Let's zoom in here and find out exactly where this is. They says it's 1 mile northeast of Monterey Park. Well, this might be a golf course 1 mile southeast of the earthquake. I don't think there's a park there. It's a golf course. This is a 1.2 tremor east of Monterey Bay. This is also a 1.3. This is also here. Another 1.4. Monterey, California, on the San Andreas Fault. Look at the San Andreas Fault right there. The San Andreas Fault right there. This earthquake here, Walnut, California. This is a 1.1 here. This is a 1.0 in Villa Park. Okay? Over here. Home Gardens, California. Home Gardens, California. Again, let's look at this really quick. Just kicks and giggles. Okay? Look at this. That's in a quarry. That is a quarry blast. Many times when USGS has an earthquake here, it's not anywhere near this quarry. Today it is. How about that? How about this earthquake here? They say this is a quarry blast 1/3 of a mile deep. Really? A 2.0 earthquake 1/3 of a mile deep. Okay? The quarry is way down here. This is nowhere near the quarry. This is a 2.0 minor earthquake here. Home Gardens, California. Okay? Unreal. This earthquake here, let me bring it back here. This earthquake right here, Villa Park, California. Interesting. Okay. It's right on the edge here of another fault line here. Okay. It's just a 1.0 tremor here in the foothills of the mountains here, just southeast of Los Angeles. Okay. But up here, this is Walnut, California. Walnut, La Puente. What is here? Anybody that recognizes where these earthquakes are right here? This is the Walnut, La Puente caldera. A volcano's here. A volcano's here. This earthquake here is a 1.2 tremor right beneath this freeway. I believe this might be the 101 freeway. I think. Rob, what do you think? Is this a 101 freeway here? Right here. This is another one. A 1.1 tremor here southeast of Walnut. 3.6 miles deep. Down inside this volcano. Down inside this volcano. Okay? No, it's not good. This is a very heavily populated area. And these earthquakes here, one is right underneath the highway. There's a highway interchange here. Look at that. This one here is just outside of the residential area here. I can't get any closer to this or I would. Looks like it's right next to a golf course. Who would have thunk? It's at a volcano. It's at a volcano. This earthquake here north and east, actually south and east, Rancho Cucamonga. Rancho Cucamonga, guys. I've been here. Rancho Cucamonga in Ontario, California. This is a 2.3 earthquake, a minor 2.3 earthquake here in this residential area, and right next to it is a 0.6 microquake. So we're having earthquakes in Rancho Cucamonga. Beth Wolf says 6 lanes of traffic. It sure looked like it to me. Let me find that again here. Let's take a look at that. Right here. Walnut La Puente. That's as close to it as I can get. Right here. Okay? But I've got something else. I've got something else. I've got my Earthquake Pro. And I can show it to you. If they're going to allow me to show it to you. Oh, gee whiz here. Oh, man. No, I can't find it on my own device, my little device here. No, I'm not able to find it on this device. But right there in the freeway area, there's at least 2 freeways here that are merging, maybe 3. Okay? 2 lanes in each direction on those 2 freeway on or off ramps there. This highway here probably has 4 lanes in just one direction. Probably. I'm just saying. Okay? But look at these other freeways here in this area. That's huge. That's huge. Walnut Caldera. The volcanic caldera there in Walnut, California. Okay? That's what's working there. That's what's working there. Okay? Up here in the Pacific Northwest. Hobart, Washington. Hobart, Washington, down here just south of the Puget Sound area. A 1.2 tremor here. Interesting. Interesting. Down here, Mount St. Helens. Northeast of Helens, we have a 0.6 microquake. And then right down inside St. Helens, we have 2 more. This is a 0.4. This is a 0.2. Mount St. Helens today. Right down the throat of the volcano. 1.6 miles deep. 1.6 miles deep. Now, yesterday there was talk. Yesterday there was talk of an earthquake, a good sized earthquake up here at Mount Baker. A good sized earthquake up here at Mount Baker. This may have happened. I just have no evidence of it. I can find no evidence at all of a good sized earthquake happening here at Mount Baker. But it probably did. May Edwards, her birthday is Friday the 13th. Isn't that cool? Happy birthday to you. Rob is saying that that highway is a 210-15 freeway. The 210-15 freeway. All I can say is wow. All I can say is wow. Rob, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Anyway, guys, do you have any questions? I know we've gone over our 2-hour period. I don't like doing that. But I think we've made our point when it comes to earthquakes and everything else going on. Do you have any questions about anything that we've talked about tonight? Do you have any questions? You're very welcome, May. I really do hope you have a wonderful birthday Friday. We'll be here on the air. Maybe we'll even say happy birthday on your birthday. Friday the 13th doesn't have to be bad just because it's Friday the 13th. My youngest daughter, Melissa, was born on Friday the 13th. Wonderful day, her birthday. Anyway, guys, just to leave you here with what we were talking about earlier. James chapter 2, verse 26. For just as the body without the spirit is dead, so also faith without works is dead. Start preparing yourself to protect yourself from anything that could happen on Friday or might happen before that. We're a preparedness channel. We are a preparedness channel. Get prepared and do it now. Do it now. It might save your life. At least that's what we're hoping. Guys, if you don't have any other questions, we're going to get out of here. I hope you have a wonderful night. NanoGap is saying an earthquake down at Lake Erie at 2.5 kilometers deep. Wow. Earthquake at Lake Erie. There's a reason we have earthquakes at Lake Erie. Did you know that? It just happens to be an earthquake fault on the southern end of Lake Erie. And that's where that earthquake happened. I know it. That's what happens all the time when we have an earthquake at Lake Erie. We can talk more about that tomorrow night. Folks, I love you. I care about each and every one of you. I care about your families. I care about your close friends. I want you to be safe. That's what this program is all about. Preparedness, giving you information about dangerous things that are happening. With everything going on, I don't trust what is happening. Our government isn't giving any of us a chance to know anything. They hide the evidence. Fantasy Dog just gave us a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Fantasy Dog says, just got here, powerful sermon Sunday. Congrats and love you, buddy. I love you too. And thank you for that about our Sunday school class. I spent a long time putting together our Sunday school classes. I appreciate hearing that. That makes my day. I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to thank our mod squad, our wonderful mod squad. I want to also thank you for your prayers for me, our mods, prayers for Don Patoka and his wife that have been going through some health issues. God bless all of you. And also Sleeping Volcano and her husband Dennis. Thank you for prayers for them. And I would ask all of you to still continue to pray for them. They need it. They need it as much as I or anybody else does. I want to thank one of my best buds, Rob and Don here, that do a yeoman's job. Thank you so much for all you do. You make my day. Folks, I'm going to get out of here. If anything else happens tonight, we'll be back here on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, we'll be here tomorrow, same place, same bat station. Here to give you information to help you protect yourselves. We'll be talking about earthquakes. We'll be talking more about what's happening in Israel. We'll be talking about what's happening in Maui as well. There's some updated information that I want to give you there. Until then, have a great night. God bless you all. God bless you all, and thank you for being who you are. You guys are the best. We have the best EMA family ever. The best mod squad on YouTube. Fact. Thank you all, guys. I love you very much. I hope you have a good night and a better tomorrow. We will see you on the other side. Take care, guys. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you later. Bye.